G'day, friends and fans. Welcome to Writing Corner. I'm your host, the author David Applegate, author of the books Boyhood Arcade, Power Games, and Into the Owl's Mound. Now, before I begin, I'm going to share this out on X. So, having trouble sharing stuff on X, just give me a moment. Wish for once X would just behave its pathetic little ass. All right. Let's just get to it. Sorry. Let's try this again, shall we? Why does it say cannot find broadcast? Does there again cannot find broadcast? Okay, there's the brook. Oh, that's the U. Okay, that's previous one. Okay. Okay. Let's try you. Can I share you? Right. Right. Sharing out now. YouTube link. Why is it not live on YouTube? Says live on YouTube. Just says it's not live on YouTube. Why is it? All right. So, am I live on YouTube? Yes, I'm live on YouTube. And a couple of people watching. Thank you. Say hi. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you for coming. Now, writing better characters, part 1. And working with different editors over time, I think one of the most prominent annoyances has been the failure to produce the protagonist within the first chapter. And you may include them, but have you actually identified them as the protagonist? Have you actually introduced them? And have you now a properly introduced character? It's not about their appearance. It is about their motivation and abilities and their limits. Now, you can't throw all the information into one chapter. It's an introduction. But to be properly introduced, you're going to have to at least know something about them, and you actually have to identify the fact that they're the protagonists, and not just because they come up first, or they're the first guy to shoot, or they're the guy who goes bang to the other guy. Now, there's various effective ways to introduce the character stories as a pivotal figure, not just as a formality, but as a crucial step in engaging the reader and helping them understand the story's plot. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the examples that I've given. Those are Patreon exclusives on my Patreon. I'm going to give you a brief glimpse, friends and fans. Enough for you to make notes and see for yourself. Now, you can do this without dialogue. James Bond often does this. This allows you to focus on the action. You only use brief descriptions and as what's needed, hair, eye color, whatever they wear, whatever's appropriate, whatever. There's little to no dialogue in a heavy action scene, especially in what's called a silent introduction. That's why it's called a silent introduction. Now, there's not much description of the surroundings either. These are short sentences focused on action, infusing the narrative with dynamicism. Basically, you're going to be lots and lots of verbs, lots and lots of adjectives, and describing emotions, reactions, the surroundings, and the characters, and other characters barely mentioned. This way you focus on the actions of. So you have James Bond. He enters the scene. He looks around. He crouches. He moves up. He checks doorways. He moves along. He sees a guard. He takes against the wall, waits for the guard to pass, comes out of the shadows, conks him on the shoulder, drags his body into the shadows. Nothing needs to be said. You have a guy skulking around. Then, of course, he gets to the main bad guy's desk, takes out his camera, takes some photos, knees off. You didn't have to be told he's a spy and a killer. And later you learn his name, etc. Right. The character is introduced to us. Now, in some movies, this happens a lot where you follow the character from from beginning to end, right? The entire chapter is following the character, third person, as they engage in mundane preparation. Driving to work as example, falling down, Michael Douglas. You're not introduced to him. He's there from get-go. Beep, beep, beep. He's in traffic. It's all following him, third person. We only learn scant details about them each step of the way, as their name is only mentioned or only learned whenever they're engaged by their first name in conversation, preferably somebody who calls them out. Usually the dialogue is the last thing in the chapter. Again, this is a silent introduction. Third one, the stranger. Team has a new guy. This breaks from the but let's take army movies. Sergeant York. I'm trying to think of non-comedies, like Kelly's Heroes. A lot of you are introduced to the main characters piece by piece as they're introduced to and along each other. Bismarck, you have the ship being introduced to the captain. You have the captain introduced to the crew. You have the officers introduce themselves to the captain. These introduction is the now you have two types. You have the meet and greet or the team coming together. The team coming together is where the marshal is going around town looking for volunteers and people are slowly getting up and presenting themselves. And the marshal knows these people. He's going to say, oh, thanks for joining Jim, or come on, Jack, are you coming too? Bring that shotgun of yours. They're going to have a meetup where you have the team introducing themselves to each other, and they're actually slowly coming together. In a more formal situation like the Seven Samurai, half the movie's putting the team together. And that comes into the Magnificent Seven, which is actually a ripoff of the Seven Samurai, but it's done slightly differently. But those two movies are example of the team coming together. Those are meet and greets. People are introducing each other to, and you're learning along the way what they can and can't do. And there's others where there's friends. Um, you want your characters to be dynamic, and dynamic is I'm not a black hat, I'm not a white hat, I'm in a grey suit with a white tie. I might wear back shoes. I might be spiffy, but on the weekend I might go to a bit of a dodgy car park, watch some people box in a ring in the dark, and I might get in the ring for 50 quid just to see, just just feel something, a bit of Fight Club, have a bit of chips and gravy with a bit of with a scallop from a questionable fishmonger who we won't ask where he got it from. And there you have Bob's your uncle. You pick, and depending on your genre, westerns, you meet the protagonist a lot of time through the lens of the showdown in the saloon or the shootout in the street, or he's throwing somebody into a cell and kind of locking it up, and he says, "Here's another one for you, sheriff." you know, establish that he's a bounty hunter without saying, "All right, here's your money, you dirty, filthy bounty hunter, get out of here." No, he puts his wanted poster down and says, "Here's another one for you, sheriff." And the sheriff says, here's your 100, and get out of here, Jack, or Jim, or John, or, you know, but you don't have him just haul a guy in, you'll actually have him go through the scene of capturing the bad guy and bringing him in, not a word spoken until he's throwing the guy into the cell and puts down the wanted poster. You're going to have a lot of mystery and build suspense. The less dialogue, for stoic, strong characters, less dialogue. Two friends, two birds. These chat. You want a chatty, open dialogue. You're gonna go with two females. Now it depends on your dynamics. You've got different dynamics for different teams. If you've got the two-man team, you go with the buddy opposites attractive. Straight guy to the straight guy, funny man. Jackie Chan with Chris Rock. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. Then you get different team ups. You got the 4-man team, 5-man squad, seven desperados. You got the 11-man. You got the command crew, as they call it. Large, broad crew like Star Trek, where basically in the original Star Trek, I think that was a meet and greet. The captain comes, his ships come along, he's meeting people, just saying hi. They know each other, so they're all just saying hi to each other. And as you move along, you just basically a lot of people, can't wait to rush to introduce every character and everything about them. So, and I'm learning too that you've got to spread the character over time. You can't, and characters have to be dynamic. They're not fixed, stoic blocks of wood that react without motivation, or they have motivations, they have plans, they have plots and schemes. They get angry. Sometimes they want to talk things out because they're trying to work out if, trying to stall for time, or trying to work out, they might be injured. They might, they might not know that they're not going to win the fight, or they might be unsure of themselves, or they may be waiting for some backup. So you've got to plan these things through. That's the best part. To write a better character means to plan a better character. You can pants plot along, by the seat of your pants, having them react to different situations, and you don't have to have them react the same way every time. You can have them follow these mythical rules if you want, but at the end of the day, they need a motivation. And whether it's Star Trek exploration or the bounty hunter wanting to just eat a little bit more than something than pork and beans all the time. But ain't cut out for ranching, ain't cut out for mining. You're going to sit down and present a better character, because ultimately that's what interests us, right? It's the main character's story that's going to interest us. And you make your main character too interesting without finalizing their arc. You can introduce all these mysteries. No matter how many mysteries you introduce, the more you introduce, sure, you might have a long series, but eventually you have to solve these mysteries. And if these mysteries turn up being very super disappointing, like what's the mystery of the smoke monster? It turns out that that's the fog in everybody's memory. It's just because it's only fragments, the island's only a fragment that everybody's lost. And then it turns out to be purgatory, and all these people's characters' motivations, and they're fighting their fate. And the smoke monster's just the fog. There's nothing at the well. There's no secret key and all this other. It's just little. It just gets convoluted to the point where it becomes absurd. You're just throwing stuff at the wall. That's when you've lost track of when your plot has gone off the rails. Now, whether it's a video game, a book, a comic, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. The introduction, the inciting interest, incident, the tracking down, the confrontation, the resolution. And these are broken up and spread out into more little conflicts and more resolutions. Confronting the bad guy. Why'd you do it? You lack vision. It's going to be a railroad coming through here, and it's going to be a lot of money. Now, these little cattlemen, he just don't recognize the opportunity. Just wouldn't sell out. The bad guy's going to monologue. That's a good given, but give them a motivation. Far too often, I think there are cliches where the motivation is, land grabs, but humans aren't that sophisticated. They're just greedy and simple. Like, the first thing a villain does is when they see an opportunity, first they might actually consider what's the honest way of going about things. And if the honest way of going about things is watching everybody but you succeed, and nobody, you know, they will just fester a dark, you know, particularly those who are used to getting their way all the time will fester darkness very quickly. You look at it in American Psycho, where he's used to women giving themselves to him. He's used to executives having a pecking order in a certain manner, and these manifest themselves in various subtleties. And then somebody picks an executive font and they're only a newcomer. They're new to this little club, and they've already gone all out and he's jealous. In his eyes, no, you're only a 16-point font man. You don't get executive cream paper. Who do you think you are? And, that a lot of that goes on in the world where they think somebody's you know made the right choice. Why would you why would you follow unwritten rules in a silly pissing contest, when I thought that's the point, right? You don't enter a contest. I know you want to enter every contest and win, but you can't enter every contest and expect to win every time. Yet, here's what happens when people win all the time. They expect it. They expect the victory handed to them. I have seen this in golf. I've seen this in television. I've seen this particularly in television, where long-running TV shows, they just won't go away because the entire station is geared and towards not just the marketing. This guy's the star, and the board hangs out with the cast, and the director's everybody's buddy, and everybody's doing him favors and getting coffee. But somebody comes along with a new show, everybody just starts undermining it, trying to get rid of it because it upsets their worldview. There are many, many ways to do this. So just because I've presented only but a few, but there are many ways. But the key takeaway is to please fully introduce a character. A character. Not every character needs to be fully introduced. You need the but you do need to eventually establish the villain's why the inciting incident took place. And you don't have to reveal everything the enemy's done. This is for the good guy, the hero, to investigate, to discover, to uncover, to hunt down, to eliminate, and exact revenge. To take, whether it's James Bond putting bullets in Schmersh's between the eyes of Schmersh killers until they find the supervillain, and then throw him into back into his volcano lair along with his, and drop whatever quip he has armed himself with, the word of the day and the gadget of the day with, and be done with it. For England, James. So hopefully, other characters, and the rest writes itself. Gotcha. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Consider joining me on Patreon, but first, support me on Ko-Fi. Support me on my writing Patreon. I have two, RPG and writing. Buy my merch, buy my books, please and thank you. Links in the link tree. See you in the next video.